from the street 670 Union Street looks like one in a line of brick buildings on a tree-lined block in Brooklyn. But inside, exposed timber beams, columns and floorboards make it clear this 14-apartment condominium is no typical New York City building. Eric Liftin, principal of Mesh Architectures and the condo's architect and co-developer, said in an interview,
Timber House is the first mass timber condo building in the city, perhaps the state, not entirely sure. But it's built out of a structure of wood, which is very unusual for a 6-story building like this, which would normally be built out of concrete or steel.
Timber House, completed in May after about 2.5 years of construction, is made of glue-laminated timber, a type of structurally engineered wood known as mass timber. In this case, the wood is Douglas fir from Washington state.
The structure of the building is familiar to most people who've seen buildings in the way it's put together. But what's unusual is that these are all made out of glue-laminated timber. They're taken from normal dimensional lumber that people might have seen in a lumber yard, 2x8s, 2x6s. They take them and put them together, they laminate them with glue, in special equipment to do that. They get cut to size by computer-controlled milling machines and then shipped and put together. We liken it to putting together a very large piece of IKEA furniture in that everything is pre-cut to be precisely the size it needs to be with the connections already milled that need to go together.
Liftin said mass timber buildings are more common in the Pacific Northwest. Europe also has buildings supported by wooden beams, and a 25-story mass timber mixed-use building opened in Wisconsin this summer. The architect said he chose wood for its aesthetic qualities and negative carbon footprints.
The timber is a renewable resource. Trees are growing. We're at a timber surplus. There's plenty of wood available. And so as an alternative to concrete or steel, it's a beautiful material that makes incredible spaces to dwell in, that is a sustainable way to build. Compare it to concrete and steel, it has great performance and durability and all those things. So the idea of working with a sustainable, natural, renewable material is very appealing. And
building operations are also energy efficient. Timber House is highly insulated, its roof has solar panels, and it uses electric heat pumps for heating and cooling. Each parking spot in its downstairs garage has an electric vehicle charging station. Liftin said he hopes the building will serve as a model for future building in New York.
It's also built with passive house principles, which means that it's super insulated, it's very quiet, it has triple glazed windows, there's no gas anywhere in the building, no combustion. So everything is working on electricity. We have solar electricity on the roof, and it's generally made to be a sustainable building and trying to be a model for the future of building here in the city.
Susan Vines, owner of One Beam Design and an adjunct associate professor at City College of New York's Architecture School, described wood's climate change advantages.
Steel and concrete have a fairly large carbon footprint in terms of their production. They each account for about 10% of the carbon dioxide emissions globally, annually around the world. While wood, on the other hand, basically has zero or negative carbon footprint. The reason for this is because while trees grow, as you know, they sequester carbon during the photosynthesis process. The construction and operations of buildings accounts for between 36 and 40% of CO2 emissions globally. So architects and builders have a huge obligation to reduce carbon emissions by changing how we build, what materials we use, and by making our buildings more energy efficient.
As for fire safety, Liftin said mass timber is not very flammable, forms an insulating char layer when burned, and can maintain its structure in response to a blaze as long as steel can.
Mass timber is actually not a very flammable material. Because it's large, if you've ever tried to light a log on fire in your fireplace with a match, it's very hard to light large pieces of wood on fire. It takes a lot of heat and flame to get it to burn.
Vines noted that the International Building Code of 2021 added a provision allowing buildings up to 18 stories high using timber. Prices range from under $600,000 for a studio to over $3 million for a 3-bedroom apartment. 12 of the 14 condos have sold, and residents are due to begin moving in this fall.
When we started selling, there was some pent-up demand, and people were very enthusiastic. So within a few weeks, most of the units were sold. We have 14 homes in this building, and only 2 are remaining. So they've sold very quickly, actually.